The Loch, the mist clung to Loch Ness like a shroud that night, thick enough to swallow the beam of Angus Mac, Tavish's torch. He had fished these black waters for 43 years, longer than most men dared stay out alone after dark. The tourists came for selfies and Nessie myths. Angus came for the quiet, the rhythm of line and reel, the small, stubborn trout that still remembered how to fight. He'd launched his little skiff just after sunset from the pebbled shore near Doors. No moon tonight, only the faint silver bleed of stars through the clouds. The water was mirror flat, unnaturally still. Even the midges had gone quiet. Angus baited with a fat lobworm, cast long, and let the line sink deep. He liked this spot. A shelf dropped away into 60 feet of cold black nothing. The kind of depth that made you feel watched, even when you knew better. Half an hour passed. Nothing. He poured tea from the flask, the steam curling upward like breath from another world. Then the float twitched once, sharp, deliberate, before vanishing beneath the surface. He struck. The rod bent double. Not a trout. Something heavy, slow, deliberate. It didn't run, it walked the bottom, patient, as though deciding whether to bother with him at all. Angus's heart kicked. He'd hooked salmon, eels, even a drowned sheep once. This felt different. Older. He pumped the reel, gaining line inch by inch. Whatever it was rose steadily, not fighting, just arriving. The water began to bulge 10 yards out, a low swell that didn't break like a wave should. The surface puckered, then split. A shape emerged, not the cartoon serpent of postcards. No cute humps. This was something geologic, skin the color of wet slate, mottled with lichen-like patches, ridged along the spine like the backbone of an upturned boat. The neck, if it could be called that, rose maybe 8 feet above the water, thicker than Angus's thigh, tapering to a head that seemed mostly jaw. The eye he saw was not curious or malevolent. It was ancient, bored, the pupil a vertical slit that drank light rather than reflected it. The torch beam shook in his hand. The creature regarded him for perhaps 3 heartbeats, then sank again, slow as a coffin lid closing. The line went slack. Angus exhaled, trembling. He reached for the knife at his belt to cut the line. Better to lose the tackle than whatever was on the other end. Before the blade touched monofilament, the rod jerked violently. Not upward, downward. Hard. The butt slammed into his stomach, knocking the breath from him. He staggered, boots slipping on the wet planks. The skiff tilted as something enormous pulled from below, not swimming, but dragging, as though the whole loch had decided to claim him. He dropped the torch. It rolled, beam spinning across the water, illuminating for 1 terrible second, the thing rising again. Closer now, its head fully clear, water streaming from slits that might have been nostrils. Jaws parted just enough to show rows of uneven, yellowed teeth the length of his fingers. Angus screamed once, raw and useless. He grabbed the gunwale with both hands. The boat tipped further. Cold water poured over the transom. The line sang as it was torn from the reel. He tried to cut it again, but the rod was wrenched from his grip, disappearing over the side with a splash that felt obscene in the silence. Then the pull became personal. Something cold, impossibly strong, wrapped around his ankle, not rope, not chain, but muscle, slick and alive. It tightened. Angus kicked, but the grip only cinched. He was dragged across the deck, splintered wood tearing his palms. His other leg caught the thwart, it snapped like kindling. He clawed at the bench seats, at the gunwale, at anything. His fingers found the torch. In the last moment before the water took him, he swung the beam downward. There, inches below the surface, the eyes stared up at him, calm, unblinking, almost sorrowful. Not angry, not hungry, just finished. The lock closed over his head without a ripple. The skiff drifted empty until dawn. Oars still shipped, kettle overturned, tea gone cold. When the first light found it, the line trailed down into the dark, taut as ever, still tied to nothing anyone could see. They searched for Angus MacTavish for 11 days. Divers went down to 30 meters and came back pale, refusing to speak of what they had felt brushing past them in the black. The boat was towed in. The line was cut. No body was ever recovered. On quiet nights, when the tourists have gone and the loch lies still once more, some of the older men along the shore still swear they hear it. A single, brief scream, swallowed quickly, as though the water itself were impatient to forget.